Good morning. It's Saturday, and look how beautifully white and snowy it is. So it's actually snowed like a couple days ago, and then we got some ice, and this basically turned into like a giant ice skating rink. And now the sun is out, so I'm sure some of this will be melted. But I thought, I don't have like anything going on this weekend, and clearly I'm not going anywhere. So I thought it would be a good time to do a weekend reading vlog. And one of the things that I love to read in January is like winter horror and mystery thriller stuff, like Locked Room Mysteries, Stranded in the Winter. That kind of shit is my jam. So that's what we're gonna do in this vlog. So at the beginning of the month, I sent a stack of, I think there was like 5 or 6 books in the picture, to a couple of reading friends, and I'll insert that picture here. And I just had them, and it was all like winter themed horror, mystery, thriller, and I basically had them each pick one book. And these are the books that they picked. So first we have Thin Air by Michelle Paver, which is a ghost story. I think it's a like mountain climbing expedition. I think it's like in the Himalayas, and like obviously something goes wrong. And I like this blurb. It says the higher you go, the darker it gets, which is very ominous, and I love it. And then the second book is Shiver by Ali Reynolds. And I believe this is a French Alps book, and it's like a reunion of like a group of friends that like they haven't seen each other in a while, so they all go stay in this cabin, and some shit goes down. See, it says here, started as a reunion, it ended with murder. So, my 2 friends have chosen well, and I think those are the 2 books that I'm going to read for this little wintry reading weekend vlog. But yeah, so I think these are relatively doable to read in a day. This one might be a little longer, but I think I'm going to start with this one, just because it's a little shorter, and I'm pretty sure I could knock that out today, and then that one will be tomorrow. So yeah, it's Saturday, so let's start our little weekend reading vlog. Okay, so it's been like an hour later, and I haven't read anything yet, but I'm settled back in. I got some coffee, which looks so yummy, and then I got distracted. But I'm back in my room. I actually opened the window, so I got some nice, cool, wintry air in, and I have a nice winter fire ambiance going, which you can hear the little crackling fire, which I absolutely love. Now that the mood is set, I'm going to read. I also brought these with me. I've been really into, I mean, I guess you could call it annotating, but it's more just like, I don't know, I've been reading a lot of like really insightful books so far this year that I've really enjoyed. And even if I haven't enjoyed it, like there's been at least a couple things that I got out of it. So I am liking tabbing. So I brought that with me, and just in case, but yeah. Alright, let's start reading Thin Air by Michelle Paver. So, I'm only like 6 pages in, and I'm wondering if I made a mistake in my pick, because it says, do bear in mind that these are the tropics, Dr. Pierce. Darkness falls more sharply than what you're used to. And then a little while down it says, my stomach tightens with excitement. You've done it, Steven. You've actually done it. No more London, no more Claire, nothing, nothing but snow, ice, and rock. Okay, so maybe they are in the, I'm so confused. Like, are they in the tropics or not? Unless she was kidding. What's going on? I mean, the cover certainly resembles, like, cold. Okay, I'll just keep reading. I wanted to share my confusion with someone, I guess. Let's read on, shall we? My confusion is back. So, it says here, I'm finding the jungle rather oppressive. The steamy smell of decay. The trees are even worse. Every trunk, every twisted branch and tangled root is dripping with creepers and moss. It's like a forest in a dream. I'm so confused. I don't, like, are they, I don't know. I'm sure whoever's watching this is gonna be like, you fucking moron. But, I don't know, like, I thought it was winter. But maybe they have to climb through the jungle, and the higher they go, the more wintry the mountain is. Is that the deal? Yeah, let's go with that. Alright, so this says, 7 days out and the weather's getting on my nerves. We're at its mercy though. So far they've sent sleet, hail, rain, and snow. So it is snowy. Oh my god, I'm so confused. So I think I'm just gonna shut up and read and just go along with whatever's happening. Because I think it's more like they started at the base of this. Maybe I should just look up this mountain. Maybe that's what I should do. And like, I bet it's like a mountain, and then the higher you go, like the more chilly it gets. Is that? I've never climbed a mountain. This book is making me feel like I've never like even been outside before, but I have. Trust me. I have. Okay, I'm back. And this says, what a relief to be going downhill. After a couple of thousand feet, it grew warmer and the snow turned patchy. So, I think I've solved my where the hell am I dilemma once and for all. And I'm gonna say, down at the bottom it's jungle, and as you move towards the top it's snow. Which, now that I'm saying that out loud, is kind of like, duh. Okay, I'm embarrassed now, so I'm just gonna continue reading. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Looks like most of our snow melted. It is actively raining. Pretty gray out, but that's more like the winter weather that I know. So I'd say perfect day for reading. Okay, so an update on reading. I did not get through this entire book yesterday, but I only have a little less than half to go. So I'm gonna read through that this morning, and then I will start my other book. It's like 9 o'clock, so plenty of time to read. So let's get through this book, and then, so I guess as far as how this book is going, it's a very mild kind of horror book, very subtle horror, I will say. You know, there's a small group of explorers who are trying to climb this mountain. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it because I don't want to, like, Kincandundra, the sacred mountain. And you know, it's kind of like they get to their place, they get to their camp, they set up, and then it's kind of just like an eerie overall feeling and setting to the book. Our main perspective is that of a medic who was on this voyage, and he kind of like keeps hearing things at night, seeing stuff that he kind of attributes to just hallucination with the altitude kind of thing. So it's more of that like subtle, rather than in your face as of now. You know, what are we, like 150 pages into the book, and like nothing real major has happened, just those little subtle eerie things. They're traveling with a group of locals who like help them along their way, and they're all very superstitious, so I mean there's that kind of adds to that unsettling feeling, but yeah, there's nothing like major super intense that's happening. I'm guessing it's coming, although I'm not entirely sure. I think for my type of horror that's in this type of setting, I prefer something a little more intense. And I don't know, it says 1935, and I can tell the way that they're talking and the stuff that's happening, like it's set in earlier times. So that's kind of throwing me off too. So I don't know, like it's decent. It's a nice time. Like there's nothing wrong with the book. I'm still enjoying it. And it is intriguing reading about these people that put their lives on the line to climb the mountain of a lifetime. Just blows my mind. But I mean, like, that's really interesting. I just think I was expecting a little more oomph from it. But we've still got, you know, a little more than a quarter to go. So don't want to say anything negative about it yet, just in case. But yeah, I'll get to reading this morning and then give you my final thoughts, and then we'll jump into the second book. Okay, I'm getting ready to start Shiver by Ali Reynolds. I'm starting it really late on Sunday, so I don't know if I'm going to finish it tonight, but I just wanted to say, I flipped this open. Look at this beautiful map. I love a book with a beautiful map. Cool. Happy Monday. The snow has completely melted. Oh, there's like one little piece there. How cute. It's not the morning, it's like the afternoon. I've already worked this morning. I'm off work now. And yeah, let's talk books, shall we? I didn't quite finish Shiver, but I have like, I don't know, like 100 or so less pages left to go. So I'm just gonna continue this vlog into Monday because it's my vlog and I can do what I want with it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're going to finish our wintry reading vlog today. You know, the snow melted, so that's at a close. Seems appropriate to close out with our wintry books. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the last quarter of the book, and then I'll go through my final ratings. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm at this point. This book is kind of told in past and present, but these group of people are snowboarders, and somebody just had, oh my god, a very intense accident, and I feel pain. Oh my god, I cannot even imagine. Okay, it is quite a bit later. I finished my book. Yay! So, yeah, that's it for my wintry reading vlog. I read these two books. Thin Air by Michelle Paver. This is a expedition of sorts. It's a group of people who are kind of recreating this group's, you know, world recognized record breaking climb of this mountain, and that crew experienced some deaths, and there were a couple people that made it out alive. They published this memoir, and so this next group of mountaineers and climbers are kind of put together this crew to follow the footsteps of this original crew, kind of climb where they climbed, but they never actually reached a certain point on the mountain. So this crew, of course, their goal is to climb higher than the previous camp. And we are following the perspective of Dr. Pierce, who is the medic that is on this crew. So it's him, his brother, who's kind of like co-lead of this expedition, and then there was 3 other like expert mountaineer climbers that are on this expedition, and then of course they pull locals in. And thank you all for bracing with my confusion. So they started in, how do you say it? I think it's Darjeeling, which is in India, I believe. So they like start there, and then of course they ascend the mountain. So of course at the base of the mountain you have regular Indian weather, and then as you climb the mountain, the higher you go, the altitude, it's snowy, it's icy, it's very much like Everest. So, there you go, Donner. Problem solved. Anywho, and so they've gathered lots of locals that help, carry gear and help shuffle stuff between camps. So there's a group of, I forgot what they call them, Shibas, I believe, who, of course, this mountain, it was kind of had this ominous feel to it. A lot of the locals are very superstitious about this mountain. There was some things that didn't quite add up that happened from the first group. And so, of course, as they're climbing the mountains, the higher, like I said, the higher you go, the darker it gets. This is always recommended in horror. I, as a horror reader, and for a lot of people who consume a lot of horror, would probably not consider this a horror novel. I would say maybe if you're new to the horror genre, or prefer a more, I'll say, subtle or soft horror, so that it's not, in your face, heavy, monstery, gory, that kind of thing that a lot of people attribute with horror, this is probably a good book for you. I would say it's eerie. There's a lot of repetition, I think, with this book. They go from camp to camp, and of course, you pretty much do the same things at camp that you did at the last camp. You hike, you set up camp, you eat, you assess your injuries. He's a doctor, so he's always treating people for various things that you get when you're hiking. And of course, with it being wintry, you have problems with frostbite and, oxygen problems because you're high altitude, right? There's just always a slew of things happening. You're assessing how you're going to get to the next camp and who's going, and right? So there's all of that stuff that is pretty repetitious. I would say the soft horror elements in the evening, they start to kind of wonder if the locals and their superstitions aren't correct. You start to wonder if, maybe they're hallucinating from being so high up in the altitude, and there's this kind of mystery surrounding the first expedition that's kind of plaguing them the entire time they're on this climb. So it's kind of interesting because you feel like and Dr. Pierce, our main character, kind of mentioned this about how you're kind of following the footsteps of the ghosts of the previous expedition, which is kind of interesting. And you wonder, if some of the stuff that's happened is like the stuff that happened with the first expedition, and it's like, are you just following suit to the same thing? Right? It's kind of more of a psychological rather than any intense thing. So I gave it 3.5 stars. Wasn't my favorite book, not the best mountaineering expedition book that I've read. But yeah, it wasn't bad. I do have her other book, which I think was also a ghost story. So I'm still interested in reading. I liked her writing. This is set in the 40s, so like I mentioned before, the writing and the dialogue of the characters and just the thinking in general is a little outdated. But yeah, I think, worth a read. Then I read Shiver by Ali Reynolds, which is about a group of friends who kind of plan this reunion up in the French Alps. They used to be really close. They're all snowboarders. And so we're following the perspective of our main character, Mila, and she gets basically an invite for the 10-year reunion. When through her kind of talking about it in the first chapter, you get an understanding that something happens disastrous the last time all of them were together, and they haven't really spoken to each other since then. And so, of course, everybody's a little shocked to get, this invite to come to the Alps to, rekindle their friendship. It ends up being, I think there's 5 of them in the group of 7 or 8 that used to be. And so it's kind of told in alternating perspectives between the present and then 10 years ago. And so you're finding out and moving the plot along in those 2 timelines. And I would say normally, I feel like when that happens in a lot of mystery and thriller books, there ends up being one perspective that I'm more interested in over the other. And I have to tell you, I didn't feel that way this time. I felt like each perspective was intense enough and had a lot of plot points to keep that storyline going that I was equally interested in finding out what happened in both perspectives, which was kind of cool. The chapters were short, so you didn't have to wait as long in between chapters. There were a couple of things that I thought might happen. There ended up being a little romance plotline, which I didn't really care for, but I guess with a group of people, that it just naturally ends up happening. I was shocked by the ending. I kind of thought that, but then I decided that couldn't be it, and then it ended up being it, and I was kind of just surprised, and how the author went about revealing it was really interesting. And there was kind of like a twofer, so to speak, which was really fun. There were a couple of characters that I didn't care for, but I think that was the point. And yeah, and it says that this is a debut, which I gotta say is a pretty solid debut. And I'm almost positive Allie has come out with another book. So I don't know if this is like an older one. And okay, this is 2020. So I want to say last year I thought she'd publish another book, but I would definitely pick up her book again. Yeah, I really enjoyed this, and of course this had a really nice wintry scene. Again, up in the French Alps, they were snowboarders, mountaineers, apparently. I like being on the mountain. I am not a snowboarder or a mountaineer, but apparently I love being on the mountain. Stranded, so that's just my jam. I gave this one 4 stars. So all in all, I'm happy with the 2 books that I read for my reading vlog. And, yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks for sticking around. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye.